The distribution landscape today, the business is very, very competitive. A lot of distributors compete with each other, low margins. Everyone is looking to get ahead, have an effective pricing strategy. What is price optimization? Price optimization 101. What is price optimization?
Well, it probably depends on who you ask. And there's maybe a variety of right answers for that. And maybe there's no single one. But for me, price optimization ultimately is charging a fair price to your customers that reflects the value that you're offering them and that they're willing to pay. And so it's not always about the highest price, not always about the lowest price. It's about the right price for the right service and the right value exchange. Because really price, I think of price as the lens through which the buyer and seller see each other and agree that there's an exchange of value that the buyer is providing, that the seller says, yep, I think that's worth it to me. I'm going to pay you X amount. And you shake hands either in person or virtually, and you make a deal. And so price optimization for me is that price point that reflects the value they're providing to your customers, that they're happy to pay and are willing to come back and do it again, but also provides the financial margins necessary for a distributor to make enough money to pay the bills, to invest in their business, and ideally to invest in those things which will help them succeed many, many years into the future around people, technology, process. So price optimization is really that moment where you're doing the best you can to charge for what you're worth, and you're doing it consistently. And so the big key there, Karthik, as you know, in distribution, it's a couple things. First, there tends to be a lot of transactions. While there can be very large transactions on some ends of spectrum with big projects, typically it's a high transactional volume business. So your business is pricing every day, all the time. And customers are receiving that price from you every day, all the time. So for a distributor, it's key to trying to get that process as streamlined and frictionless as you can. So price delivery is both fair, it's fast, and it's frictionless for your customers to do business. And I think if you can combine those factors, that's a long answer for your short question. Is to me, that's what price optimization would look like. I feel like at the end of the day, customers are willing to pay for value that they receive or that they perceive. And so whether you're a software provider or a wholesale distributor, you've got to be competitive with the prices you charge versus the alternatives. So if you're a unique software company and you've got the best way of doing something that's unique, then you're going to be able to price it as a premium because there's not a lot of substitutes and because you've been able to show the client it's worth much more to them than it will cost them. I think for wholesalers, the same thing applies, but maybe one difference is that there's a lot of different alternatives for any given product. Most of the time, for most of the products that distributors sell, they're available through a variety of other channels, right? And so the product itself may be tough to say, I'm going to earn a premium on this product when supplier B, C, D down the street are selling it less expensively. The difference is, I think, for the distributors that are doing well and will continue to do well, is the service aspect. So service is the differentiator that makes a product sale either worth more or worth less to a customer because of the things that they value. And whether that's on-time delivery, accuracy, fair price, follow-up service, technical support, any number of those types of value-added services that distributors offer. For me, in my experience, customers are willing to pay for that if they can understand the value and it's communicated properly. I think the idea that the premise from Reid Hoffman on starting high, of course, that is the goal of a negotiation, right? Sometimes you start high, you kind of feel where the market is, and you negotiate down. Just like as a buyer, they're going to want to start low and see where they can guide the negotiation starting from that reference point. But I think the agreements between buyer and seller hinge on value exchange. And I think as long as the distributor is doing that well, they can, and if the service they're providing justifies the price, they're going to be able to earn incrementally higher margins because customers will be happy to call them to get great service, even if they know they're paying a little bit more than if they have to worry about delivery or if they have to worry about getting a call back and things like that. So I think pricing strategy depends a lot on the capability of the business to deliver excellent service or above average service. Because if you want to get a premium price, you've got to offer that premium service.